Now we're going to look at how to create blog posts or edit blog posts on your site. All you're going to do when you're on your WordPress dashboard is click on Posts to see the existing posts. And if you want to edit them, you can simply click one to edit. Let's go ahead and take a look at one that we might edit. So I'm going to hover over this one here. I could click the title, or I could just hover over it and click Edit. So let's do that. I click Edit. Here's the post. I may get a pop-up if WordPress has added a new feature they insist I know about, but it's going to be pretty rare. So once I have this up, I'm looking at the ordinary parts of a blog post, just like I might see them on the actual front end of the website. I'm going to see the title, and I would encourage you to keep your titles down to 70 characters or less. 65, 70 characters should be the limit, because otherwise it's going to get cut off in Google results. And then here is the actual body of the blog post. So pretty straightforward, right? You got a title and you have the body. So a couple of tips, though, that you really need to know about and pay attention to. One is that you have these two tabs here, visual and text. Well, what are they for? Visual shows you what you're likely to see on the website. Now, not all of the styles may show up. So if you highlight something here and you expand your stuff and choose a headline like I'm doing now, well, this headline shows up as black and it's a certain font, etc. Don't worry about that if your headlines on your site are actually blue and a completely different font like 48 pixel Courier. That's not going to show up here because it would really clutter up your your view to have something like that. This is just to represent the fact that you indeed have selected a headline. I'm going to put it back to paragraph. So that is a great way for me to just kind of introduce you in the visual portion to these various features, which are just WordPress features. I'm not going to, or word processor features. I'm not going to go through every single one of them. You'll try them out, figure them out, and they're all pretty self-explanatory if you've used a word processor like Microsoft Word before. But there are some additional things you need to know about the visual tab versus the text tab. So what is the text tab? When I click on that, what I get is the actual code. Now, a lot of the code has actually been stripped out, but this is the basic code that goes into making a page like this. So why is this important to me? I'm not a technical person. I maybe don't want to see the code actually, but I really do, and here's why. If you create your content in WordPress, you can just stay on the visual tab and create it right here. You type your text, etc. But if you don't, if you are bringing it in from a word processor, do not copy and paste that text into the visual tab, because every word processor has hidden code behind all of the text, and it will bring that code into your website and clutter up what your website looks like. It'll interfere with the existing styles. So this is the extra trick. If you are creating content in Microsoft Word or something like that, go to the text tab, copy and paste it in here. This is also where you would paste in any code snippets that you need to paste in. So if you're embedding a YouTube video, do it in the text tab, not in the visual tab. This is where we put things that we either have code in it or want to strip out code. So once you've done that, keep in mind that if you're doing all kinds of formatting in Microsoft Word, you're bolding and underlining and changing fonts, first stop that because it's not helping you at all. And second, when you paste it into the text tab, it's going to undo all of that. That's the intention. We don't want Microsoft's version of code coming in and styling. We want the website's version of code. So once you've pasted it in and you go back to the visual tab, you're going to get plain text again. And you're going to go through and format it. So you're back to underlining, creating links, whatever it is you want to do here in the visual tab anyway. So just do all the formatting in WordPress no matter what. All right. So a couple of other things about creating or editing a blog post. To do this, let's go ahead and just create a blog post instead of editing the one we have, because obviously here you can edit the title and you can edit the body, etc. Let's actually go over here to the left and click Add New Blog Post. This is going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to put a title in here. Let's call it My Favorite Things to Eat for Dinner. I'm hoping you're not writing about that kind of thing. If you are, see me. I'm a content strategist, but in the meanwhile, in the meantime, it makes a decent faux title. So in here, I'm going to put some text, and I'm going to violate my rule by pasting some text directly in. Well, why can I do that and not you? Because I know where this text came from, and it's completely free of code. As you can see, when I click on text, there's absolutely nothing in here but text. So it's great. And this is just placeholder text where I can now do things I want with the text, like highlight something and bold it. I could highlight something and put in a link. Let's just go ahead and put in a link to google.com. Make sure it opens in a new window so we don't completely take them away from the site, and give them something like an interesting title, like search engine. So there we go. I've got a link. I can do other things with my text. Maybe I want some of this to be a subheadline, so I highlight it, click the expanded options and choose headline 2. By the way, a tip here, never choose headline 1. The title is headline 1 and you're only allowed one of those, so don't do it. Just use headline 2 or 3, but not headline 1. So that's a subheadline, and maybe my post has various subheadlines throughout it, and I have to do that a couple of times. You get what we're saying here. This is basically a text editor. But there are a few more things I can do before I actually publish or submit this post. And whether you can publish or submit depends on your rights. If you're a contributor, you can submit a post, but then a copy editor will pick it up and make sure it meets our criteria before we actually hit publish. If you have full editor rights or author rights, you can publish directly and it goes live. So what you do depends on your rights. And that button is up here. What if you want to schedule the post? You don't want it to go out immediately because you've written 2 or 3 posts in one day and you don't want them all to come out. You want to space them out over the course of a week. Well, you notice it says publish immediately here. You can just click edit and change when that post is going to go out before you hit publish. So that's a nice way to do it. What if you want to save the post as pending because you need to come back on it and work on it later? So what I would do is I would click edit up here next to the status and just change that post to pending review. That's also a good thing to do if you want to show it to a copy editor, have somebody else look it over, and that's not your normal procedure. If it's your normal procedure, you're just going to have a button here that says submit instead of publish, and it's automatically going to go into that status anyway. So this is for one-offs. You can also use draft if you're not finished with a post and you want to come back to it and you know it's just going to be you looking at it. But keep in mind, drafts get cleaned out periodically, so that's really only a short-term solution. Don't leave a whole bunch of drafts in your website over time because it'll slow down your website. All right, so moving on, we have a title, we have a body with some text. We know the text is clean and has some headlines and formatting. We're ready to figure out about publishing it, but we need to put it in a category. Do not check all that apply. This is not a multiple choice where you can check as many as you want. Pick one category that represents what your post is. So if this is a blog post about copywriting, that's the most appropriate topic, put it there. Okay, so that's copywriting, or that's the category. None of this other stuff do you really have to focus on. The thumbnails and things like that are, they should be automated for the most part. The only situation that might be different is if you need to choose a layout or a template. We sometimes call it a page template. So if you have certain specialized kinds of templates, like it's a portfolio case instead of a basic page, then maybe you're going to choose that. Or if you have a different template for testimonials or something like that, you might have to choose a template that's appropriate for what you're posting. But the other option is on the left. Your webmaster may have actually created certain items for you, so you don't have to worry about that procedure. The more that we can automate, the better. There are times when we have different page templates, even for ordinary posts or pages. Maybe we want to move sidebars around or include different content. That will be up to you and is a discussion with your webmaster and web designer. The basics here are the title, the body, the publication box, and the category. If you get those things down, you can publish a blog post. One other thing you may be thinking about, and this is the last thing we'll hit, is adding an image to your post. Now pay careful attention because I'm going to give you a couple of tips on how to do this right. All you're going to do is put your cursor next to the paragraph that you want the picture to align with. And you're always going to put your cursor on the left. Yes, I know you may want the image on the right. Doesn't matter. Put your cursor on the left. The beginning of the paragraph the photo should line up with. And once you have it at the beginning of that paragraph, let's put it here at the beginning of this one, you're ready to click this Add Media button. You click the Add Media button and it gives you several options, like select a file from your hard drive or go to your media library and grab one that you've uploaded before. Let's just go ahead and borrow a photo of something else. I like this one. We'll get this one here. And you can change some things about it, like the alignment. Let's align it to the right. And you can choose which size it is, so there's usually multiple sizes available. Something 300 pics or less is probably appropriate for a blog post. Put it in. You can put in some alternate text to optimize it for search engines. We'll talk more about that in another tutorial, but something like holiday tips, and then insert it into your post. And there it is. It's aligned to the right. It's a certain size. It has the alternate text in it for search engines. Hey, I'm ready to click the publish button. So that's all it takes. You're ready to go forth and publish blog posts.